It is Sunday at 11 p.m. This is season 2, episode number 1. So be welcome and thank you if you are joining us tonight. For something different, we're going to start this new season with a bunch of features that you may find interesting. So start swiping to listen to them. Welcome.
I was suddenly woken up by a loud sound. An alarm from my phone, to be exact. Everything was extremely dark, and the only thing I could see was my phone screen shining and moving like crazy. I made my way towards it and checked what time it was. 3 a.m. Blocking most of my screen came a notification in red captions. Do not look at the moon. The moon? What? Out of the blue, hundreds and hundreds of notifications started filling my phone. Messages from friends, family, classmates, and tons of unknown random numbers came directly after reading the warning. All of them with the same message. It's such a beautiful night tonight. Look outside. What's going on? After thinking for a while, I decided to take a peek. Tune in next time, just in Banana Radio.
Welcome to a space of reflection, where we analyze and dig deeper into those sensations that make us all get even more confused in this chaotic world. You see, I can recognize when I'm sad or extremely angry, but oftentimes I get this sensation, or the lack of emotion actually, like I'm completely empty, everything seems irrelevant, like I'm just floating, and life passes by. I know that I can't be the only one. Has it ever happened to you? That you feel so out of place, almost as if you were dreaming, and disconnected from your mind and body? Well, there's a word for that, actually 3 of them. Depersonalization, an internal feeling of disconnection from oneself. Derealization, an external feeling of disconnection from our surroundings. And dissociation, the detachment from one's physical and emotional experience. Regardless of it being so common, people rarely talk about their own experience with this. If you want to learn more about the amazing and confusing phenomena of the human experience, I invite you to listen to the next episode.
So, what do you think? Let us know in the comments, and I'll see you next Sunday at 11 p.m. Have a good night. It is Sunday at 11 p.m. I have a personal story to share. A bit embarrassing, but here we go. When in high school, a classmate asked me about my traces when doodling. How I was so sure about my next line and not to be afraid of making a mistake. I do not remember what I replied then, but as much as I am not an expert in drawing stuff, I rarely correct a mistake. I guess I embrace whatever I trace and I just go on. It is just a doodle. This is embarrassing because I am not claiming I know 100% what I am doing, but I just won't stop my trace. In these matters, I learned to enjoy mistakes. I must learn how to do that in other situations. What is true is that most of us do not like and even try to repel mistakes. But I like the quote, "The day you no longer make mistakes is the day you can be sure you are no longer on the frontier of discovery." This said by Neil deGrasse Tyson. Let me know your thoughts. See you next Sunday. Good night. It is Sunday at 11 p.m. Success. An interesting concept to think about. Let's talk about the fictional character Dwight Schrute from the popular TV show The Office. It is the first time I am watching the show and I am enjoying it a lot. There is an episode in season 2 in which Dwight is named Salesman of the Year in the company and seeks help for his acceptance speech. Dwight has a big fear to speak in public. His boss, Michael Scott, then mentions how he became Salesperson of the Year twice in previous years and tries to help Dwight getting his speech right. As expected, the big day arrives, and Dwight is horrified by the amount of people gathered for the event. When he is called to get on stage to give his acceptance speech, Dwight gets cold feet and Michael, cocky as usual, gets on to cover for him. Michael then starts a horrible, unprepared speech that ended more like a tasteless comedic routine that goes wrong. This gives time for Dwight to build up confidence and get on stage after Michael's big fail. When exchanging places, Michael wishes Dwight good luck and tells him it is a tough crowd. Michael gets off stage pessimistic, heading later for a drink to the hotel's bar in which the event is being held. In the show, Jim, Dwight's co-worker, plays a prank on him in almost every episode, persuading this time Dwight to read a speech aimed to make a fool of him. Jim convinced Dwight to read this speech by making him think he has an academic experience in public speaking, which he's not, and giving Dwight a speech based on Benito Mussolini's during his fascist dictatorship in Italy. In the end, Dwight receives a big approval from the crowd, getting the audience excited and receiving lots of compliments. If you have seen the show, you may think of Dwight as a weird employee, condescending with the rest of the workers and always trying to please his boss, Michael. It most likely made you think that being so insecure in front of an audience would be a huge mess if adding the speech from an old dictator to the mix. But it was the moment for Dwight to shine. This makes me think of a success as a very complicated mixture of elements and finding your own audience. Michael Scott was very confident, but unprepared, and his crowd was not in the mood for his nonsense. Not his audience, not his time to shine. Jim's prank on Dwight did not make fool of him. On the contrary, this gave energy to the usual authoritarian ways of Dwight to treat others beneath him. But he seemed very satisfied and happy in the end. It gave a feeling as if he were more like a grateful rock star. He seemed relieved and humbled. You feel happy for Dwight. It was his time to shine. In conclusion, no matter what happens, some successes, some of the times, are a mix of, among many other things, the right message, finding the right audience, and being your time to shine. From my experience, when a person has found their audience, it is usually hard to take that from them. What do you think? Let me know in the comments, and see you next Sunday at 11 p.m. Good night. It is Sunday at 11 p.m. Sometimes we feel like we don't belong or that we wish to belong somewhere. This is very natural since we are gregarious animals and we enjoy the company of others. But sometimes it is better to be far away from those that we think we belong to. It's not the same our perception of ourselves than actually exploring and observing who we are to actually take the best of our own self. I am naturally not that social, and I became social in some part of my life, and then I came back to what I am. We are the biggest mystery to solve. So, my only message today is to be patient and to be happy and glad that we have the chance of doing this. See you next Sunday.
Es domingo a las 11 p.m. Usualmente se dice que ver las cosas solo desde nuestra perspectiva es algo malo, pero decirlo así es muy simplista. Tenemos únicamente con lo que nacemos. Nadie sabe qué se siente ser nosotros. Somos una oportunidad en millones, únicos en las cosas que vemos y sentimos. Una mezcla de experiencias traducidas en nuestro interior. Así que, sí, ves las cosas desde un solo punto, por lo que eres hoy. ¿Podrías entonces aprender de una perspectiva que no es la tuya y estudiarla? Diría que es una responsabilidad hacerlo, habiendo nacido con puntos ciegos.
It is Sunday at 11 p.m. We usually say being biased is a bad thing, but that is too simplistic. We only have what we had born with. No one else knows what it is to be us. A chance in millions. Unique in the things you see and feel. A mix of experiences translated within. So yes, you are biased. Might as well learn from a different perspective, studying that point of view. I would say that is our responsibility. See you next Sunday. It is Sunday at 11 p.m. We might think having lots of choices is great, but we may actually get lost and dissatisfied. Just Google the famous jam experiment carried out in 2000. It seems the lesser options, the happier we are with our choice. So think about this. We are the generation with the most options, but that may turn us in a generation with the most dissatisfaction. So what do you think? I'll see you next Sunday at 11 p.m. Good night. It is Sunday at 11 p.m. Everything is difficult. It seems irrelevant to observe anything and think about how difficult it was for the object to exist. A television, a poem, or even a piece of paper. The more you study anything, it is to notice how everything is complex in its own right. Most of the times, we tend to underestimate everything until we try to do it ourselves. But that's the interesting thing about life. I have a quote by Dr. Jordan B. Peterson. You want a goal that you can do, but requires some improvement on your part. That seems to be the key to motivation. Again, not easy. So, what do you think? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next Sunday at 11 p.m. Good night. It is Sunday at 11 p.m. Earth Day was commemorated this week. Climate action and saving species were part of our daily dose of internet postings. While it is important to think about to restore balance in our ecosystems, something has to be said about the imbalance in our society and mental environments. We have the tendency to separate ourselves from nature, building big houses, bigger malls, and similar to our recreation and gigantic cities to our comfort. All of this somehow creating other types of discomfort. Now, we live stressed and tired, finding peace in the exotic nature. We are too comfortable in our big houses, recreations, and cities, creating a thicker mental box, shutting us from the rest. A big, comfortable golden cage. Good times create weak men. I will expand on this next Sunday. See you then. It is Sunday at 11 p.m. Last time I talked about our tendency to separate from nature and how good times create weak men. We separate from the elements, but also separate from others. Our thick mental boxes makes us believe we are going to be okay by ourselves, most of the times not acknowledging not everyone is doing okay in this world. We are more connected by technology, but also separated by our beliefs, consuming and liking people similar to us, creating our own safe spaces. I don't like you if you disagree with me. This is a weakness too. The following is said to be written by philosopher, warrior, and architect Nezahualcóyotl. I love the song of the mockingbird, bird of 400 voices. I love the color of jadestone and the enervating perfume of flowers. But more than all, I love my brother, man. See you next Sunday. It is Sunday at 11 p.m. Last couple of weeks, we have had two big days in Mexico and the world. Children's Day celebrated the last day of April, and Mother's Day to be celebrated tomorrow, May 10, in Mexico. And while I understand the idea behind having your inner child healthy and happy, I think it's a better idea to think of myself as a fully grown man with the ability to be amazed by what life offers. This because I have seen people not liking very much their adult condition, probably to escape responsibilities and returning to that careless safety. But let's remember that safety came mostly from our parents or other adults, most of the time sacrificing lots of time and energy. Mothers saved us from lots of pain. So it is our turn now. The past is behind and I'm enjoying my adulthood. Be the adult a mother will be proud of. Happy Mother's Day. It is Sunday at 11 p.m. I don't think I have talked about my purpose with these videos, and I don't think I need one. But I notice the importance on developing ideas with a personal touch, as people need a variety of points of view and to empower individuals. This may sound somewhat dangerous, but I am not talking about giving full power to a single or a group of individuals. On the contrary, everyone should be encouraged to develop their own points of view and show them to others for them to think about. I do not know much about it, but I believe in general, we think of the world as a limited set of ideas, but that's because our day-to-day vocabulary is not as rich as it could be. Image is another thing we could learn to control and to expand to our own benefit, but I will talk more about it next Sunday at 11 p.m. Good night. It is Sunday at 11 p.m. Last time I talked about 3 things: to empower individuals by encouraging the development of ideas with a personal touch, how I believe that we think of the world as a limited set of ideas based on the number of words we use, and how we could control image to our own benefit. Let's think of the following word: democracy. Although very abstract, it puts an image in our heads, maybe associated with a feeling, knowing the definition more or less. I've heard somewhere that democracy can only exist if every single individual can express their opinion freely without any pressure from a group or other individual. Only with that, it can truly exist. So the importance of empowering everyone. But what about image? I said we see the world as a limited set of ideas. More on this next Sunday at 11 p.m. Good night. It is Sunday at 11 p.m. In the 1950s, an old burial site was discovered in Sangir, Russia. One of the most absorbing tombs contained 2 skeletons, one from a boy, the other from a girl, both in their early teens, covered in red ochre, head to head as if they were related somehow. The boy adorned with 5,000 ivory beads, a hat and a belt with hundreds of fox's teeth. The girl also with 5,250 ivory beads. The 2 skeletons surrounded by different ivory objects and statuettes. This 30,000-year-old place tells us not only the importance of rituals thousands of years ago, but also how humans are eminently visual. Visuals, one of the main tools of propaganda. To continue with the previous idea, one of the many ways we can use image to our advantage is to be aware it could be used to persuade us. Por cierto, es importante que el 6 de junio salgamos a votar. Okay, with this in mind, good night. Last time I talked about how humans are moved by images, a strong tool to persuade used by means of speech, radio, and of course visuals. An idea associated to a word is the most effective way to transmit a concept or feeling, or at least it has been for the most part of human history. These concepts create then images. In journalism, it is said, a dog bites a man is not news, but a man bites a dog, that is news. The first sentence associated to an idea that's common, while the second one is more unpredictable. It is news. As said before, our conception of the word has to do with the word or ideas associated to those words. But does that mean there is a primacy of the image? Stay tuned for the last episode of the second season next Sunday at 11 p.m. Good night. Friedrich Nietzsche showed frequently his suspicions about language and words. Words depersonalize. The word makes what is uncommon common. Although words may have their limitations, they can convey complex ideas when combined. It is said infinite sentences could be created with the vocabulary from one language. Even if you take out the words of numbers, a vast way to arrange sentences is possible. In 1997, political scientist Giovanni Sartori argued in his book Homo Videns how humans may be losing the ability of abstraction and words due to a TV race generation. The primacy of visuals over words. Sartori recognizes the possible benefits of internet and its multimedia, but like Nietzsche, he seemed pessimistic. I would say we are perhaps in the process of handling visual images better. It is Sunday at 11 p.m. That was the last episode of Season 2. Thank you very much if you have been following. I will let you know what's coming up next. See you next time. Bye.